An unexpected arrival. The sleek interstellar shuttle glided to a stop on the crystalline landing pad of Galactic University. As the doors hissed open, Zara Chen took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. The 19-year-old human girl from Earth stepped out onto alien soil for the first time, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Xenon 7, a planet orbiting a distant binary star system, was nothing like Earth. Twin suns cast an eerie purple glow across a landscape of towering crystal spires and floating anti-gravity platforms. Aliens of all shapes, sizes, and colors bustled about the university grounds, their appendages and sensory organs defying human imagination. Zara clutched her bag tightly, suddenly feeling very small and out of place. She was the first human ever accepted into Galactic University's prestigious interstellar exchange program. The weight of representing her entire species pressed down on her shoulders like a physical force. A hovering spherical drone approached, projecting a holographic map. "Welcome to Galactic University, Turin Zara Chen," it chirped in a metallic voice. "Please follow the indicated path to your dormitory." Zara nodded, not trusting herself to speak. She followed the glowing trail on the ground, acutely aware of the curious and sometimes hostile stares from alien students. Their chittering whispers in dozens of languages made her skin crawl. The dormitory was a twisting structure that seemed to defy gravity, with rooms sprouting off at impossible angles. Zara's room was near the top, accessible only by a dizzying anti-gravity lift. When she finally stumbled inside, she found herself face to face, or rather, face to tentacles, with her new roommate. "Greetings, Earth Dweller," burbled the gelatinous purple blob floating in the center of the room. "I am Slorbax of the Zadraxi Collective. We are to be cohabitants." Zara managed a weak smile. "Nice to meet you, Slorbax. I'm Zara." The blob rippled in what might have been a gesture of welcome. "Your sleeping platform has been calibrated to simulate Terran gravity and atmospheric conditions. I hope you find it adequate." Zara glanced at the bed-like contraption in the corner, surrounded by a faintly shimmering force field. "Thanks, it looks comfy." As she began unpacking her meager belongings, Zara's hand brushed against the locket hidden beneath her shirt. Inside was a photo of her family back on Earth. A lump formed in her throat as homesickness washed over her. "You seem distressed," Florbax observed, a tendril extending toward her. "Is your carbon-based physiology malfunctioning?" Zara shook her head. "No, I'm fine. Just adjusting." The next few days were a whirlwind of orientation sessions and introductory classes. Zara's head spun as she tried to absorb alien concepts and technologies far beyond human understanding. The universal translators embedded in her ears struggled to keep up with the complex scientific jargon. In her Introduction to Hyperdimensional Calculus class, Zara stared in bewilderment at the swirling fractal equations projected in midair. The avian professor, Dr. Kriak, fixed her with 4 beady eyes. "Perhaps our Terran guest would like to attempt solving the paradox," he clucked, his voice dripping with condescension. Zara felt her cheeks burn as the entire class turned to stare at her. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. "As I suspected," Dr. Kriak said, ruffling his feathers. "Humans lack the neural capacity to grasp even basic hyperdimensional concepts. I fail to see why the admissions board allowed one into our esteemed institution." Laughter rippled through the classroom. Zara slumped in her seat, fighting back tears of frustration and humiliation. She had been at the top of her class back on Earth, but here she felt hopelessly out of her depth. That evening, as she lay in her simulated Earth bed, Zara considered giving up and returning home. But the thought of disappointing her family, her species, and herself steeled her resolve. She may not have been born with extra-dimensional senses or quantum-entangled neurons, but humans had something special too: adaptability, creativity, and sheer determination. Zara sat up, a fire kindling in her eyes. "Computer," she said to the room's eye interface, "access all available introductory materials on hyperdimensional mathematics." As streams of alien text and diagrams filled the air around her, Zara allowed herself a small smile. She had 4 years to prove that humanity belonged among the stars. It was time to get to work. Part 2. Academic Challenges. Weeks passed, and Zara threw herself into her studies with a fervor that surprised even herself. She spent every waking moment absorbing alien knowledge, pushing the limits of her human brain to comprehend concepts that defied earthly physics. Her efforts didn't go unnoticed. In quantum xenobiology, Professor Zixtal, a crystalline being that communicated through light pulses, called on Zara to explain a particularly complex genetic sequencing problem. Zara took a deep breath, stood up, and began to speak. She described the intricate dance of subatomic particles, drawing parallels to concepts from Earth biology in ways her alien classmates had never considered. When she finished, the room was silent. Professor Zixtal's facets glowed with approval. Most impressive, Terran Chen. Your species' linear thinking provides a unique perspective on multidimensional problems. Perhaps there is hope for you yet. It was a small victory, but it gave Zara the confidence boost she desperately needed. She began to see her humanity not as a weakness, but as a strength. Where her alien classmates approached problems with rigid, specialized thinking, Zara's generalist human education allowed her to draw unexpected connections. In advanced propulsion theory, Zara's suggestion to apply principles of Earth fluid dynamics to the wormhole stabilization earned her top marks and the grudging respect of her peers. Even Dr. Kriak, the dismissive avian professor, had to acknowledge her rapid progress in hyperdimensional calculus. But not everyone was pleased with Zara's success. A group of students from the Technologically Advanced Praxis Consortium began to view her as a threat to their academic dominance. Led by the coldly logical Vex-9, they went out of their way to undermine and discredit her at every turn. One day, as Zara was running simulations in the quantum computing lab, Vex-9 and his cronies approached. The tall, gray-skinned alien loomed over her, his cybernetic eyes whirring as they focused on her work. Impressive algorithms. For a primitive species, Vex-9 said, his voice a metallic monotone. But I wonder how you'd fare without your advantages. Before Zara could react, one of Vex-9's companions accidentally spilled a container of nanobots onto her workstation. The microscopic machine swarmed over her equipment, corrupting data and erasing hours of work. Oops, Vex-9 said without a hint of remorse. How clumsy of us. I do hope you had backups, Terran. Zara clenched her fists, fighting back angry tears. She knew reporting the incident would only lead to denials and further hostility. Instead, she took a deep breath and forced a smile. No worries, she said, her voice steady. I'll just have to redo it. Maybe I'll find an even better solution this time. Vex-9's eyes narrowed, clearly disappointed by her lack of an emotional outburst. As the Praxis students sauntered away, Zara slumped in her chair, exhausted. She was making progress, but the constant struggle to prove herself was taking its toll. That night, as she vented her frustrations to her roommate Chlorbax, the gelatinous alien surprised her with an offer of help. I have observed your dedication, Zara of Earth. Chlorbax burbled. Perhaps an exchange of knowledge would be mutually beneficial. I could assist you with quantum entanglement principles, and you could explain the intricacies of human social bonds. Zara smiled, touched by the alien's offer of friendship. I'd like that. Chlorbax. Thank you. As they settled into a rhythm of shared study sessions, Zara felt her isolation beginning to fade. She even started to form tentative friendships with other open-minded aliens, like Crix, a multi-limbed engineer from the gas giants of the Andromeda Galaxy. Months passed, and Zara's reputation grew. Her unique approach to problem-solving led to several minor breakthroughs in various fields, but it was in theoretical physics that she truly shone. Professor Lumina, a being of pure energy contained within a force field, had posed a seemingly unsolvable riddle to the class. reconciling the conflicting theories of dark matter propagation in a collapsing universe. For weeks, the brightest minds at Galactic University wrestled with the problem. Even Vex-9 and his Praxis colleagues were stumped. But Zara, drawing on her knowledge of Earth's quantum physicists and her newfound understanding of alien science, saw a solution no one else had considered. On the day of the final presentation, the lecture hall was packed with students and faculty eager to see the proposed solutions. Vex-9 went first, presenting a complex but flawed model that drew polite applause. When it was Zora's turn, she took a deep breath and activated the holographic display. As she walked the audience through her revolutionary theory, combining elements of string theory with hyperdimensional calculus and a dash of human intuition, she saw eyes widening and tentacles waving in excitement. Professor Lumina's energy field pulsed with brilliant colors. Extraordinary, Ms. Chen. Your model not only solves the dark matter dilemma, but opens up entirely new avenues of cosmic exploration. This is Nobel-level work. The room erupted in applause. Genuine this time, not just polite. Zara beamed with pride, catching the supportive gazes of floorbacks and Curricks in the audience. Even some of the Praxis students nodded grudgingly, though Vex-9 glowered in the corner. As Zara left the lecture hall, surrounded by congratulatory aliens peppering her with questions, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She had not only proven herself worthy of a place at Galactic University, but had shown that humanity had something unique and valuable to offer the cosmos. Little did Zara know that her greatest challenge and opportunity to showcase humanity's potential was just around the corner. A crisis was brewing that would test not just her intellect, but her courage and compassion as well. Part 3. The Xenon Plague. The first cases appeared in the outer districts of Xenon 7's capital city, a mysterious illness causing rapid cellular degradation in various alien species. Within days, the infection had spread to the university campus, filling the medical bay with feverish, deteriorating patients. Zara watched with growing concern as more and more of her classmates and professors fell ill. The university's top xenobiologists and medical experts were baffled, unable to identify the pathogen or develop an effective treatment. During a campus-wide emergency meeting, Dean Xylos, a towering insectoid, addressed the terrified student body. "We are implementing strict quarantine protocols," he chittered, mandibles clacking nervously. "All off-world travel is suspended until further notice." Zara's heart sank. She had been looking forward to a brief trip home to Earth for the upcoming break. Now she was trapped on an alien world in the midst of a deadly epidemic. As panic spread through the campus, Zara found herself drawn to the medical bay. Her required course in comparative xenobiology had given her a basic understanding of various alien physiologies. While she was far from an expert, her human perspective might offer fresh insights. Dr. Azura, the head of the medical team, was initially skeptical of Zora's offer to help. The bioluminescent cephalopod had little patience for what she saw as human meddling. But as the situation grew more desperate, she reluctantly agreed to let Zara observe and offer suggestions. Zara threw herself into studying the virus, drawing on everything she had learned about alien biology and her knowledge of Earth's medical history. She noticed patterns that the alien doctors had overlooked, connections between seemingly unrelated symptoms. One evening, as she pored over holographic cellular scans, a crazy idea struck her. The virus behaved similarly to certain Earth pathogens, but on a quantum level. What if they approached it not as a biological problem, but as a problem of quantum physics? Excited, Zara rushed to share her theory with Dr. Azura. The alien doctor listened skeptically at first, but as Zara explained her reasoning, the bioluminescent patches on Azura's skin began to pulse with interest. "It's an utterly bizarre approach," Azura admitted, her tentacles writhing thoughtfully. "But in this crisis, we can't afford to dismiss any possibility. I'll assign you a research team to explore this avenue." Zara soon found herself leading a diverse group of alien scientists, combining their specialized knowledge with her out-of-the-box human thinking. They worked around the clock, fueled by caffeine-equivalent stimulants from a dozen worlds. As they made progress, word of the human-led research team spread. Some on campus dismissed it as a publicity stunt, but others began to watch with growing hope. Zara's friends Slorbax and Curix volunteered to assist, providing valuable insights from their own unique physiologies. Weeks passed, and the death toll mounted. The pressure on Zara and her team was immense. She barely slept, haunted by the sounds of suffering from the overflowing medical bay. Finally, after countless failed attempts, they had a breakthrough. By combining principles of quantum entanglement with targeted nanotherapy, they developed a treatment that could theoretically disentangle the virus from the host cells on a subatomic level. The first trials on infected cell cultures were promising. Within hours, the virus was eradicated without harming the host cells, but they needed to test it on living subjects, and time was running out. In a tense meeting with the university board, Zara made her case for fast-tracking the treatment's approval. Some board members were hesitant, concerned about the risks of an untested therapy developed by a human undergraduate. Vex9, who had joined the board as a student representative, spoke out against Zara's proposal. "We cannot entrust the lives of our people to primitive human science," he argued. "The risks are too great." The room erupted in heated debate. Zara felt her hopes sinking until an unexpected voice cut through the chaos. "I volunteer," said Dean Xylos, silencing the room. The insectoid administrator had contracted the virus days earlier and was clearly in its advanced stages. "I have nothing left to lose and everything to gain. Let us put our faith in innovation, wherever it may come from." With the dean's endorsement, the board reluctantly approved the treatment for emergency use. Zara's team worked frantically to synthesize enough of the quantum nanotherapy for the first wave of patients. The next day, Zara stood nervously beside Dr. Azura as they administered the treatment to Dean Xylos and a group of critically ill patients. The minutes ticked by like hours as they waited for results. Gradually, miraculously, vital signs began to improve. Within hours, the virus's progression had not only halted but reversed. Dean Xylos's carapace, which had grown dull and brittle, began to regain its healthy sheen. A cheer went up from the medical staff as the news spread. Zara felt lightheaded with relief and exhaustion. They had done it. A human student, working together with alien scientists, had saved countless lives. As the treatment was rapidly distributed across Xenon 7, Zara found herself at the center of a media frenzy. Reporters from across the galaxy clamored for interviews with the human savior of Xenon 7. But Zara's work was far from over. As she and her team refined the treatment and studied the virus's origins to prevent future outbreaks, she knew that this crisis had forever changed perceptions of humanity in the galactic community. For the first time since arriving at Galactic University, Zara felt truly at home among the stars. She had not only proven her own worth, but had opened the door for greater human participation in galactic affairs. The future, she realized, was brighter than she had ever imagined. Part 4. Resistance and Sabotage. As news of the miraculous cure spread across Xenon 7, Zara found herself thrust into the spotlight. Overnight, she went from being a curiosity, the token human at Galactic University, to a celebrated figure. Alien news channels beamed her image across the galaxy, hailing her as the Terran savior of Xenon. Copy. Claude's response was limited as it hit the maximum length allowed at this time. Continue. Part 4. Resistance and Sabotage. Continued. As news of the miraculous cure spread across Xenon 7, Zara found herself thrust into the spotlight. Overnight, she went from being a curiosity, the token human at Galactic University, to a celebrated figure. Alien news channels beamed her image across the galaxy, hailing her as the Terran savior of Xenon 7. But with fame came new challenges. As Zara and her team worked tirelessly to mass-produce and distribute the cure, they faced unexpected resistance from multiple fronts. A vocal minority of xenophobic aliens, led by a charismatic Psyloctian named Drakthorn, began spreading conspiracy theories. They claimed the virus was a human bioweapon, and that Zara's cure was part of a plot to control alien minds. Despite the absurdity of these claims, fear and mistrust began to spread among some segments of the population. Vex-9 and his Praxis Consortium allies saw an opportunity in this growing unrest. They launched a sophisticated disinformation campaign, using their advanced AI algorithms to flood the galactic networks with doubts about the cure's safety and efficacy. Zara was horrified to see videos of herself, digitally altered to make it appear she was admitting to nefarious schemes. The advanced alien technology made these deepfakes nearly impossible to distinguish from reality. "We can't let them undermine everything we've worked for," Zara told her team, her voice tight with frustration. "Millions will die if people refuse the treatment because of these lies." Dr. Azura's skin flashed with patterns of concern. "Perhaps it would be best if you stepped back from the public eye, Zara. Let us aliens be the face of the cure distribution for now." But Zara shook her head firmly. "No, that's exactly what they want. We need to show that humans and aliens can work together for the greater good. I won't hide." With the help of Kirix's engineering skills and Xlorbax's knowledge of alien social networks, Zara launched a counter-offensive. They created a series of live, interactive broadcasts where Zara and her team transparently explained the science behind the cure and answered questions from beings across the galaxy. Slowly but surely, they began to turn the tide of public opinion. Zara's earnest demeanor and clear expertise won over many skeptics. But Drakthorn and the Praxis Consortium were not about to give up so easily. One night, as Zara was working late in the lab, the lights suddenly flickered and died. Emergency force fields snapped into place, trapping her inside. Through the shimmering barrier, she saw a group of masked figures approaching, led by the unmistakable silhouette of Vex-9. "I'm sorry it's come to this, Terran." Vex-9's metallic voice echoed through the darkened lab. "But we cannot allow your kind to gain a foothold in galactic affairs. Your research will be destroyed, and you'll be sent back to your primitive world in disgrace." Zara's mind raced. She knew she couldn't overpower them, but perhaps she could outsmart them. As Vex-9's accomplices began smashing equipment and deleting data, Zara quietly activated the lab's backup systems, a precaution she had insisted on after the earlier sabotage attempt. "You're too late," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "The formula for the cure has already been distributed to medical facilities across the sector. Destroying this lab won't stop anything." Vex-9 paused, his cybernetic eyes narrowing. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Zara countered. "Why don't you check the galactic data networks?" "Oh wait, you can't, because you're too busy committing a crime that's being recorded as we speak." She nodded towards the corner of the room, where a tiny holographic camera, standard equipment in all university labs, was quietly documenting everything. Vex-9 and his companions froze, realizing their mistake. In their haste to sabotage Zora's work, they had forgotten about the lab's security measures. "This isn't over, human." Vex-9 snarled as he and his accomplices fled the scene. As soon as they were gone, Zora slumped against a workbench, her legs shaky with adrenaline. She had bluffed her way out of danger, but she knew Vex-9 was right about one thing. This was far from over. The next day, footage of the attempted sabotage was broadcast across campus and beyond. Vex-9 and his co-conspirators were arrested, facing serious charges. The Praxis Consortium quickly distanced itself from their actions, but the damage to their reputation was done. Public opinion swung decisively in Zora's favor. Aliens who had been hesitant about the cure now came forward to receive treatment. Even Drakthorn's followers began to question their leader's claims in the face of overwhelming evidence. But Zara took little joy in her vindication. She was shaken by how close they had come to losing everything. As she stood before the university board, delivering a report on the cure's distribution progress, she knew she had to address the larger issue at hand. "What happened here is bigger than just a virus or a cure," she said, her voice ringing out in the packed auditorium. "It's about fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of change. Fear of those who are different from us. But we can't let fear dictate our actions. Humanity may be new to the galactic stage, but we come in peace, eager to learn and contribute." She paused, looking out at the sea of alien faces, some skeptical, some supportive, all attentive. "This crisis has shown that we're stronger when we work together, combining our unique perspectives and abilities. I dream of a future where humans and aliens collaborate freely, pushing the boundaries of science and understanding. That future is within our grasp, if we have the courage to reach for it." As applause filled the auditorium, Zara felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The road ahead would not be easy, but she was no longer alone. She had allies, alien and human alike, who shared her vision of a united galactic community. With renewed determination, Zara and her team returned to their work. The cure still needed to be distributed to the far reaches of Xenon 7 and adapted for various alien physiologies. But now, they worked with the full support of the university and the gratitude of millions whose lives they had saved. As the twin suns of Xenon 7 set on another long day, Zara allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. She had come to this alien world to learn, but she had ended up teaching as well, showing the galaxy that humanity, for all its flaws and limitations, had something valuable to offer the cosmic community. The adventure was far from over. In fact, Zara realized with a mix of excitement and trepidation, it was only just beginning. A new era of cooperation. 1 year after the Xenon plague crisis, Galactic University was abuzz with excitement. The grand auditorium was packed with beings from across the cosmos, all gathered for a historic occasion, the first ever intergalactic academic conference on human-alien cooperation. Zara Chen, now a graduate student and a respected figure in xenobiology, took a deep breath as she prepared to deliver the keynote address. So much had changed in the past year, both for her personally and for human-alien relations as a whole. The successful development and distribution of the cure had opened doors for humanity that once seemed firmly shut. The Galactic Council, impressed by Zara's achievements, had fast-tracked Earth's application for associate membership. Human scientists and students were now being welcomed at institutions across the galaxy, eager to share their unique perspectives. As Zara stepped up to the podium, she saw familiar faces in the audience. Dr. Azura, her tentacles shimmering with pride, Crix, waving enthusiastically with multiple limbs, and Xflorbax, whose gelatinous form rippled with excitement. Even Dean Xylos was there, his carapace gleaming with health, a living testament to the power of cross-species cooperation. "Distinguished beings of the galaxy," Zara began, her voice steady and clear. "A year ago, I stood before you as an outsider, the first human to walk these halls. Today, I stand here as a colleague, a friend, and a proud representative of Earth." She went on to outline the incredible advancements that had been made through human-alien collaboration over the past year. From revolutionary propulsion systems that combined human intuition with alien quantum mechanics, to breakthroughs in medicine that blended Earth herbology with advanced xenobiology. "But our greatest achievement," Zara continued, "has been in breaking down the barriers of fear and mistrust that once divided us. We have proven that diversity is not a weakness, but our greatest strength. Each species brings a unique perspective, a piece of the cosmic puzzle. Together, we can solve problems that none of us could tackle alone." As she spoke, holographic displays showcased ongoing joint projects between humans and various alien races. There was footage of human engineers working alongside Xyloxian crystal shapers to create living starships. Images of Earth doctors and praxis geneticists collaborating on cures for genetic disorders that plagued both species. "And this is only the beginning," Zara said, her eyes shining with excitement. "Imagine what we can accomplish in the decades and centuries to come. A united galaxy, pooling its knowledge and resources to explore the farthest reaches of the universe, to unlock the deepest mysteries of existence. The audience erupted in applause, tentacles waving and antennae quivering in approval. As Zara stepped down from the podium, she was swarmed by well-wishers and reporters from a dozen worlds. But one face in the crowd caught her attention. Vex 9. The former Praxis Consortium leader had been released from detention, his sentence reduced in exchange for cooperation in rooting out extremist elements. He approached Zara cautiously, his cybernetic eyes whirring as they focused on her. "Ms. Chen," he said, his metallic voice softer than she remembered. I owe you an apology. My actions were based on fear and ignorance. You have shown us all, the error of such thinking." Zara studied him for a moment, then extended her hand. "The past is behind us, Vex 9. What matters now is how we move forward. Your technological expertise could be invaluable in our joint projects. Are you willing to work together?" Vex 9 stared at her outstretched hand, then slowly reached out to shake it. "I would be honored," he said. As the conference continued, Zara found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. She moderated panel discussions on interspecies ethics, advised on the creation of new cross-cultural curricula, and helped draft proposals for expanded exchange programs between Earth and alien worlds. During a rare quiet moment, Zara slipped away to one of her favorite spots on campus, a secluded balcony overlooking the crystal spires of Xenon 7's capital. As she gazed up at the star-filled sky, she felt a presence beside her. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said a familiar voice. Zara turned to see Professor Lumina, the energy being who had first recognized the potential in her unorthodox approach to physics. "Professor," Zara smiled. "I'm glad you could make it to the conference." Lumina's form pulsed with warm colors. "I wouldn't have missed it for anything, my dear. You've started something remarkable here. A true renaissance of intergalactic cooperation." Zara nodded, her expression turning thoughtful. "Sometimes I can hardly believe how far we've come. But there's still so much to do, so much to learn." "Indeed," Lumina agreed, "which is why I'm here to offer you a unique opportunity. The Galactic Council is assembling a special task force, the brightest minds from across the cosmos, charged with tackling the greatest challenges facing our united species. They want you to lead the human contingent." Zara's eyes widened in surprise. "Me? But surely there are more qualified." Lumina's light flickered in what Zara had come to recognize as laughter. "My dear, you've proven yourself 100 times over. Your ability to bridge cultures, to find connections where others see only differences. That's exactly what this task force needs." As the implications of the offer sank in, Zara felt a familiar mix of excitement and trepidation. This would mean leaving behind the comfort and familiarity of Galactic University, venturing into the unknown once again. But isn't that what she had come here for in the first place? "When do we start?" she asked, a smile spreading across her face. As they walked back to the conference, discussing the challenges that lay ahead, Zara felt a profound sense of gratitude. She had come to Xenon 7 as a stranger in a strange land, hoping to prove that humanity belonged among the stars. Now she was helping to shape the very future of intergalactic society. The path ahead would not be easy. There would be new obstacles to overcome, new prejudices to dismantle, new crises to face. But Zara was no longer alone. She had friends and allies from 100 worlds, all working together towards a brighter future. As the twin suns of Xenon 7 set on the final day of the conference, Zara looked out at the diverse crowd of beings mingling in the university courtyard. Humans chatted animatedly with tentacled cephalons, crystalline Zalaxians shared jokes with gelatinous Zodraxi, and 1,000 other species interacted in harmony. This, Zara realized, was the true power of humanity, not our technology or our intellect, but our ability to adapt, to connect, to bring people together. In this vast and wondrous universe, we had found our place at last. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. and Zara Chen, once a lone human girl on an alien world, was ready to lead the way into a new era of galactic cooperation.